What in the blazes is going on here, you might ask? Well, building a garage, building a garage trunk thing. So, I can't remember the last time I ever changed a spare tire, so my plan is to build a box and put it up there. I can do that, at least I think I can do that, because as long as there's enough room up there for the tire, I think there is. But I've structured the inside of this so that there's no possible way you can cave that roof in because of the crossbar that goes in there, made out of 2x6s and 2x4s. I built it so that I could put anchor points for exercise gear and various other things that I could anchor to without any issues. So that was off topic. So what I want to do is build basically a box that bolts on right here and carries garage style stuff. So what I did is I took my cardboard and I made a pattern as to how big I can get away with, ballparkish, so that it would open and not hit this like the tire used to. That's why it's all split. I gotta get new lenses. So yeah, so built it so I can get the general dimensions of how far down, how far up, how far over, and how far over I can do it. And then I'm gonna put, I believe, basically a spacer box here with a plate on it, so that when you screw these down, it's going to push the box against the frame for this tire holder. And that's the plan. So I'm making a pattern, trying to work with the woods that I've got, very conscious of desperately hoping that it's not too heavy and that I can put some 5-liter fuel cans in it, and if I can get a 2 or 3 5-liter fuel cans in it, or even 4, that'd be super awesome. And then all the other stuff that maybe you don't want in there, I don't know, just extra cleaning supplies or whatever, but mostly to get the diesel fuel for the diesel heater out of the van. And that's the thought, so I'm going to work on that. Alright, there you go. That's the basic idea for the base plate. Alright, so I've got my box built. It's like 1-inch plywood, and it comes out about 4 inches, so that after I put washers on these nuts, so yeah, it comes out about 4 inches, and then this top, so it comes out about 4 inches, and then this top, and I'll put big washers in here, and yeah, so that holds. It's really cold and it's late and it's dark and I'm not thinking straight. But anyway, so that's how I'm going to anchor it to the van. So now I'm going to get some washers, and I'm keep double checking all my clearances, opening the doors and checking to make sure that I stay within clearance. Make sure there's lots of room here. I knew there would be, but lots of clearance for the door, and this is going to come out, probably, I forget how many inches now, so you have to make sure that you have lots of, be thinking about that. And if anything, this door is going to get adjusted in at the top, like going to get adjusted this way a little bit because it's close at the bottom and high at the top, no doubt from the weight of that tire on there all those years. So Yeah, so that's how far I got. Well, it's raining. All right. It's the next day. So last night I worked, I don't know, 2 o'clock in the morning or something. Eventually the temperature dropped. It was raining. It was cold. I was overtired and really shouldn't have been designing things when I was that tired. So anyway, I built this and I dragged it inside, and I was just taking a minute and I was looking at it and thinking about my plans for tomorrow, and I was tired, and I'm looking at this thing and I'm going, oh, you dummy. So what I had done is I had started, so the plate was made and the mount, and then I started building the box on the other side of this. These boards were all screwed in over here on the other side of the box. So I started building the box out this way, and I was so tired I just had to laugh. So I unscrewed it and I made myself just tack it back together in the proper form, and now I'm going to try and get this next piece in before the skies open up, because we are headed into a storm. But anyway, this is surprisingly not as heavy as you would think. I have, if you follow my other builds, you know, I tend to overbuild and then I reverse engineer it to take the weight out. But it's not that terribly heavy. But then if you're going to put tanks of fuel in it and whatnot, you want it as light as possible. So yeah, so far so good. It's just a thought I had in my brain, and so far it's coming together. And if you stay tuned, you'll see how I'll cut my weight down. Alright, got the bottom in. Now I'm going to start putting my gas cans in here and use that as the measuring line that for putting shelves in. So I'm not going to be able to put, I mean, you can't put your gas can like that, so I'm only going to be able to put like 1, 2, 3, 4. I can probably put 6. So if I wanted to carry like 2 extra of gasoline, you could put gasoline in there, I guess. Or this might just all wind up being storage, who knows. But I'm going to use these gas cans as the measuring stick for the shelves. Alright, I got some shelves cut, and I had to cut this notch out of here for the mounting plate, because if it sat on top of this box, there wouldn't be enough room for a can, and in case a can goes up there. Hey, like 3 cans across there. That might be nifty. Anyway, that's so far. Now I'm going to sand those down and possibly do a little bit of weight reduction. Here comes the rain. I just dragged everything inside and got a few things out of there so I could make more room to work. It's going to rain for 2 days at least. Well, she's raining pretty good now. Alright, so I got the top shelf cut, notched, and 2 bottom ones with a weight reduction process. I'm going to do that throughout the box. And even the way it is, I can still lift it with one arm. I've got a pretty good arm on me, but it's not that heavy. It's like not as bad as I thought, and so I should be able to get this down really into the world where I'm happy with, and then it's the fuel, at least 3 or 4 things of fuel that will make the difference, and then whatever other non-important things that get jammed in there. But yeah, that's where I'm at now. Alright, got the shelves in, holes cut, and if you need to, you know, if you need a solid space here and you need an actual shelf because something you're putting on there is loose and small or whatever, you can just cut a little piece of cardboard and slap it in there, or a piece of mesh, or just something really light that will be able to withstand the pressure there. Anyway, so that's good. I'm going to think through my next step now. I'm either going to start taking out weight or build the top, one or the other. Alright, here's the Swiss cheese box. Took as much weight out of it by cutting circles as I want to. Don't really want to do any more of that. Left this one solid because this is where the main latch will come around. I'll put a support here and a support maybe there. No, maybe not. Maybe the door will go right to the edge. And so I'll put a piano hinge here, and the door will close, and there'll be a heavy-duty latch here with a lock. And yeah, so that's where we're at now. Still no massive rains. Really windy out, but they say it's coming. Oh, and in case you're wondering, I only drilled into this 1 inch or 3/4 inch, whatever it is, heavy duty structure wood. I didn't cut any holes in the back piece because it's, I don't know, what is that, 1/2 inch or whatever, 5/8 or something. It's not as thick, so I'm leaving the structure of this completely intact and just doing my weight cutting measures in places I feel I can get away with it in the heavier structure wood. 3 holes on the top because there's not likely ever anything gonna go on top of it, and just 2 holes in the bottom just to... It's really hard to think about the physics of this being pulled in here and then having a framework that's supporting it back there, pulling it in, so these bolts pulling it into the bar. So your structure is in here like this, and it's a little bit hard to wrap or a little bit hard for me to wrap my head around where the stress points are. But I think we're doing pretty good. I think this should last. Time will tell. I mean, she's pretty solid. I'm just hoping I can get away with how heavy it's going to wind up being with gas or with diesel in it or whatever. And if that doesn't work out, then I'll just use it for general storage with lighter stuff. Well, it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning. It's pretty nasty out. So I thought I would bring it down into the basement and glue all the seams with white carpenter's glue. It's amazing how big a difference it makes in a wooden project. Alright, got that thing glued and glued and glued and glued. Just glued everywhere. Horrible mess. Alright, sun's out, it's only -3 today. Dusty, dusty, dusty. I just finished cutting strips to go across top and bottom, and I want to seal up the paint all inside here. It's all screwed and glued, dead solid, and yeah, I'm going to seal it up with whatever paint I got. And it just so happens that there's a bunch of cases of this yellow, there's some pink and there's some yellowy green wood, metal, plastic, and more paint plus primer. There's cases of this stuff. Apparently somebody got it in an auction, and there's just cases of this stuff. Anyway, I'm going to use this and spray that. She's glowing green. Glowing green. First coat, or second coat, and third coat. I'll put some more coat, so we got lots of coats. Coats and coats and coats. Just to seal up that wood so moisture can't get into it. And then a thin veneer will go over the top of the exterior to make the visual seal. Alright. So I've been working on this last couple nights. I guess my lens is going to fog up. And it was insanely cold and raining and whatnot. So I didn't film anything. The camera was just, and even now it's fogging up. Another storm coming in tomorrow. Massive rain and sleet and hail and snow and all of it coming in tomorrow. Anyway, I got a piano hinge in there, and because I've got screws on both sides of the piano hinge that don't sit flush, it gives some spring to the door, which I wouldn't normally like, but I'm going to put a clasp on here, and that will keep some tension against the clasp, and therefore maybe less rattling and whatever. At least that's what the excuse I'm using to get past this whole thing about the door. I've run into this before, and the way I got around it before was I only put a screw here, 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 so that there was nothing on the opposite side. If you put a screw here, don't put it here. But on this thing, I wanted, you know, as much structural integrity as possible, so I screwed her up, and I'm guessing and hoping that the metal will bend or flex a little bit into shape. Yeah, little strips at the top of light wood, they're just glued on there just because the cut of my door was so horrible. This particular piece of big chunky wood is so that the screws that go through the hinge would, I could use a bigger screw and I would have more meat to go into. So it's more like you're sandwiching the door between this and the hinge, a little more strength. So that block limits the door to going that far. That's where it stops. At least I think it's the block that stops it. Yeah, pretty much. Or the door. It's hard to say. And who cares? Because if you can't get the thing out with that much of the door open, you're putting the wrong thing in there. Oh, speaking of wrong things, couldn't get diesel cans in the shape, the size that I want, so I used these gas ones and just sprayed a bunch of this green paint on there. A little bit of fumbling, but I can get it in there. And I really wanted to put these strips on the top and bottom for extra structural strength in the front, and they are glued and screwed, and I put glue throughout this frame. So anyway, I can put 1, 2, and actually I could put 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I could actually put 7 gas cans in here if the door could handle the weight, or if the box could handle the weight. I filled up these two with diesel the other day. It was $20 for those 2 little cans. Crazy talk. Anyway, so now I went to Canadian Tire, got some dark blue trim clad, and I'm going to start shifting the color of this whole box into the right direction. All right, first coat on. I don't know if I'm going to be able to shoot this. The camera's going to fog up. I'll have to climatize the camera before I can shoot this. Alright. There's your mounting bolts for where it mounts to the tire holder. Got 2 coats of paint on it now, and I just finished putting the locking hardware on it. And here, because of the thickness of the wood, I had to cut into that wood to accommodate where the screws go in. This is still tacky from my last coat. No doubt putting fingerprints all over everything. Yeah. I just brought it in here and turned on the propane heater to get this paint to set. Need a little more paint on the back. But anyway, not too terribly bad. After it dries, I'll mount it on the van and go for a drive and see if I've got any issues. Shouldn't though. It should be good. So now I have to get working on the top box. When that will go on top of the van and hold the tire and possibly a tire jack and hopefully a large propane bottle, a 20-pound, so that I have something to refill the small canisters that run the stove. Alright, I've got all these door seals to put on, but I think I need some adhesive. Some people say yay, some people say nay. Not really sure. Anyway, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to trim about 1 inch and 3/4 off the bottom of these 2 legs to drop this down. I think I have about 2 inches here, so I'll go 1 3/4 so that this sits down closer, because up here is where the cooler, I imagine, is going to go. And so the more room I have up here, the more room I have for like the lid to open, because this was measured for really typical coolers, and then in the end it'll probably be a powered heavy-duty cooler fridge thing that goes there. So if you have it come up so far, you need it to as much space as possible for the door to open. So I thought, I'll take a little bit off of there. So there's that much there now. Alrighty, there we go. Cut her down much closer. And this thing has gone through many rebuilds and brace on the back that never got painted. So I've got some of that blue that I've been painting the rear cargo box with. So I think I'll throw a coat of blue on this thing and put her in the shack to dry. Well, I'm not sure it looks better, but at least it's all one color. Ooh.
Are you beaten, broken, destroyed, got nothing left? You've given up and you feel like checking out? Don't. Start thinking outside the cage.
hit the open road or blaze across the sky if you can.